Hello, my loves, and welcome to the reading room. I'm so glad that you decided to stop by today and hear what today's book is going to be all about. First, let me tell you that anything that I read is not for children. And if you are offended by adult language, then you probably don't want to listen to this book. So this book is the first in a series, and it is about a family of witches. And there is a mystery involving these witches. So let's get into it. It is by author Desi Smith, and it is called The Guest House Witch. So we're going to start with the first in the series, like I said, and I'm going to read you the introduction, and then we'll get right on into the book. The Guest House Witch. Some hatred doesn't fade with the passage of time. Sage Rosewood's heart nearly stops when she arrives home to find the front door of her house open. Someone has been inside, someone supernatural with a grudge against her and her family. But this unfortunate day takes an even darker turn when she learns that her mother and aunt have been taken. Fearing for Sage's safety, her grandmother sends her to a safe house in the woodlands with strict instructions to stay hidden. But the woodlands are far from safe. The town is teeming with supernatural life, from the handsome werewolf Kayden, who makes her tingle in a certain place, to the mysterious and possibly dangerous witches, and some of the residents still harbor a deep hatred for the Rosewood witches. Unable to sit idly by while her family is in danger, Sage sets out to search for answers, convinced that the corrupt guild is responsible for her mother and aunt's disappearance, but her investigation leads her straight into danger. Will Sage be able to escape the threat nipping at her heels, or will she disappear like the rest of her family, bringing an end to the Rosewood line? So, that is the introduction. And if you are intrigued by this introduction, I'm going to read the first few chapters of this book, kind of to get you all involved. And hopefully this is something that you will really enjoy. So let's delve into Chapter 1. Chapter 1, Sage. Read when you have no hope left. The last drop of blood has been spilled, an ally with him, to seek revenge against your enemies, because your enemies are already his. Bind what's left of his soul to yours. Together you will even the odds. Together you will create a new world. Trust in yourself and never underestimate him. After what feels like hours of walking, when in reality it's only 30 minutes, I see my mailbox. I release a thankful sigh as I quicken my pace, fighting the sensation to scratch in the place that shouldn't itch. Mother Eve, help me, I cry to the sky as the itching sensation moves to my back. Why did I lie in that flower bed? I stop for the 100th time, attempting to reach that spot in the middle of my back, but I can't. I throw my hands in the air, annoyed and frustrated. Why are humans planting pythonissum flowers in their flower beds anyway? Didn't they know they are poisonous to witches? Of course they didn't. I swear, it's days like this I wished I lived in the woodlands, a place for the supernatural. If you weren't playing spy, none of that would happen. I hear my G-Mom's mocking voice and ignore it, because playing spy paid the bills. I trip over the step to my door and mentally curse. The itching has me so worked up, I forgot to step up. I couldn't wait to get inside and rub myself down in peppermint balm. I stop short when I notice my door is slightly open. Not open wide enough to alert my neighbors, but open just enough to where my neighbors would assume I'm loading something in, or I simply forgot to close the door. You'd be surprised how often those scenarios happen. especially in the human world. A muddy boot print on my otherwise spotless yellow door makes me look up to the sky. Great. Here we go again. I would like to say this surprises me, but that would be a lie. Being a witch with the surname Rosewood, I and my family were accustomed to our privacy being invaded, among other things. Upon closer inspection, I notice what looks to be a faded note, or folded note, on my doormat. I had the sickening suspicion that I'm going to be itching for a few more hours. I mentally curse. I hate being a witch. I reach inside my purse and fumble for a storage bag, sad that I have to keep these here for moments like this. The last time I found my door open in this fashion was about a year ago. Even though this is the human world, my surname had acquired a lot of enemies over the years. One would assume we Rosewoods live in the human world, we'd be safe. Well, we aren't. Crossing worlds apparently is nothing to someone who seeks revenge. Using the storage bag, I carefully unwrap the note, where a bloody open salt condiment packet lies inside. Salt to a human means high blood pressure or maybe thoroughly seasoned food. In the woodlands, it had the opposite connotation. It meant bad luck. To a witch, it meant your luck had run out. I've never received a salt threat before, but my mother and Aunt Heaven and Gma have received their fair share of them. And the stories that followed the salt were never good. Against my better judgment, I yell out, "Fuck!" My duplex neighbor's front porch light abruptly comes on. Here we go. Before her nosy ass can come out and question why I'm yelling profanity in the middle of the night, I quickly grab the salt, wrap it back in the letter, and stick it in the storage bag. I toss that inside my purse. Before entering my place, I caress my raw citrine stone necklace and mumble a quick incantation. Keep my wits about me, open my senses, make me aware. The sound of my neighbor unlocking her door makes me scramble inside. If she saw me, she'd ask a million questions. Questions I couldn't answer until I dealt with this intruder problem. Behind my front door in complete darkness, I get ready to turn on my lights when I remember the muddy boot print on the door. Crap! If my neighbor saw that, she'll harass me until I offer up some explanation, which again I didn't have time to do. I place my hand against the door, already knowing what incantation I'll use. While caressing my necklace again, I whisper to myself, "Shut your eyes, close your instincts, take the back seat, let me lead, see what I think." I think back to my spotless yellow door, with a slight crack on the left side. I wait, sweating bullets, on the other side, not knowing what she'll do next. I knew the spell would work. I had 100% confidence in my magical ability. But she is so nosy. She'd knock anyway just to see what I'm doing. A minute passes and I hear someone shouting. My elderly neighbor replies, but I hear footsteps. Woohoo for small favors. Still in the dark, I look around, my senses on high alert due to the first spell I performed. When nothing appears out of order, I don't feel the need to get the hell out of there. I flip the light on. I squint as my eyes must adjust to the brightness of the room before I groan and curse again. Whoever was here totally did a number in my living room. My two small burnt orange couches were flipped over, the bottom of both couches sliced open, as if someone was looking for something inside of them. The expensive glass table I purchased just weeks ago was shattered into a million pieces by one of the larger stones I used when making spells. The small lamp table that was once upright is tossed on the floor as well. The light bulb shattered. Salt lined the floor. Great, just great. I move into the kitchen and nearly slip on what had to be egg yolks and mayonnaise. I turn the light on and see everything I had once had in my refrigerator had been tossed onto the floor. The refrigerator and freezer door were both left open. Water was pooling on the floor due to the freezer defrosting, letting me know that this happened earlier in the day. It made me wonder if they were just lucky breaking into my place when I wasn't home, or if they'd been watching me, knowing I wouldn't be home. I bet the latter. I growl in anger before moving into my bedroom. Feathers lined the floor, mixed with every condiment I had in my refrigerator. My mattress lies against my window. It's cut open too. My sheet and comforters were tossed on the floor with more condiments thrown on top. Who had the time to do crap like this, I wonder as I make my way to my closet, stepping over the clothes that were once hanging up but are now on the ground. When I notice my safe box is open and another letter is sitting in there, I smile. I could only imagine their disappointment when they realized the safe was empty. Anything I deemed of value I always kept on my person. I looked down to the trailer key charm I wore on my ankle bracelet. The trailer key charm was in actuality a mini trailer where I kept all of my personal belongings. Whenever I needed it, I would perform a retrieval spell and it would grow to its normal size. Again, being a rosewood, we anticipated these things. I pull another storage bag out of my purse to grab the letter which reads, "Where is it?" And the "it" they are referring to is the grimoire of the rosewood, otherwise known as our spell book, which holds all our spells and the history of who we are as witches. Each living rosewood has a grimoire, which meant as of today there are 4 volumes. My G-Ma has volume 1, my mother volume 2, and my Aunt Heaven volume 3, leaving me with the last book, volume 4. Under no circumstances were the books ever to be combined, nor near each other. If another supernatural got their hands on any of these books, the Rosewood family would be screwed. Good thing I kept my book in my trailer. I take a seat in my closet, gathering strength to do what needed to be done next. Namely, clean, wash, pack, and move. My phone vibrating in my bag makes me roll my eyes. I know who is calling. One would think in addition to being a witch, she's also psychic. I pull my phone out of my purse and answer it dryly. "Hello, G-Ma." "They have Heaven and Nevia," she informs me panicky when she never panicked. She is that strong patriarch, yes, patriarch, of the family. She kept us calm and level-headed. I jump up. If she is panicking, it meant shit had literally hit the fan. Wait. I lose my train of thought. What happened? It doesn't matter. I can hear things being thrown around in the background. "I'm setting you up in a safe house." I interrupt her. "G-Ma, you'll be living in close proximity to an alpha in that region." I interrupt her again. "The woodlands? You're hiding me away in the woodlands?" I hear more things being thrown around. "You have 2 hours to get down there, Sage," she tells me, ignoring me. "But," she interrupts me, "enough, Sage, enough," she yells, making me sigh. "Neither you nor I have the time to do this right now. Yes, you are going to the woodlands. You have 2 hours to do so." She pauses and I hear her whisper. I know she's saying an incantation, but I can't make out the words. When she finishes, she curses. "Oh, Mother Eve, this doesn't look good at all. G-Ma doesn't curse." She stresses the word, "will look for them. You will stay put in that safe house. If I need you, I will seek you out." She takes a long breath. "You will not seek me out. Am I understood?" "Yes," I reply, about to ask her more questions, but of course she cuts me off. "You will not do anything that resembles looking for your mom or aunt." "Yes, but I can help. I can." The sound of shouting makes me stop talking, trying to identify what the person is saying. Again, my G-Ma begins whispering. Another incantation, no doubt, as I hear a scream. You will not help, she yells. You will stay put, Sage, or so help me, I will strip your powers away from you. I open my mouth to remind her I'm grown, but decide to close it, not wanting to do this now, especially with whatever she is dealing with on her end. You will await further instructions, am I understood? Yes, I reply, annoyed. 2 hours is all you've got. Clean the house, pack, and go to the nearest portal. Keep that book on your person at all times. A dial tone follows, and I know that means the conversation is over. I hate being a Rosewood witch. Chapter 2. Kayden. Silence, complete and utter silence, is all that's heard in one of the 7 larger fields that my pack and I owned, which we were currently lounging in. As a wolf, silence of any kind is eerie. Being in a pack you welcomed, or should I say became accustomed to noise. It brought us comfort. The cool breeze makes me shiver inwardly and release a sigh. Summer was particularly brutal this year, and I had yet to figure out why, so fall is greatly welcomed. The smell of spicy citrus diverts my attention and makes me open my eyes to find the source of that new but delicious smell. When my eyes land on just my pack, who all have their eyes closed meditating, except for a group of kid pups who take one look at my opened eyes and shut theirs immediately. Such a pleasant smell, Alaron, the were to my wolf, informs me mentally. Oh, please spare me the cheesy rhetoric. I want to laugh but refrain from doing so because currently I wasn't speaking to Alaron. Our connection allowed him to hear the people I'm conversating with, my thoughts and feelings to which he could respond telepathically. In wolf form, where he had complete control, the same applied for me. Still ignoring me, Alaron questions to which I didn't reply. If he hadn't pulled the stunt he did a week ago, I wouldn't be doing this. Alaron had the tendency to go berserk, just for the hell of it, when he turned into a wolf. Not true. There's usually a reason, Alaron responds. I ignore him. He'll destroy and kill anything in his path, which sucked for me because he'll stay in wolf form until he calms down, which meant I would be stuck watching, waiting to become human where I could be in control again. It goes without saying, I hate taking the back seat. Yeah, you've never been much of a sharer, Alaron informs me, to which I sigh. I suppose you want an apology, huh? Alaron questions, to which I don't reply. Well, it won't happen. He replies on a huff. Stubborn wolf. An irritated and very loud sigh makes me open one eye in search of where the sound came from. Sean, with his sandy brown hair and frizzy braids and brown skin, is no longer sitting crisscross, but now has his feet stretched out in front of him. He makes eye contact with me, but then dips his eyes, showing submission. Ah, a welcome distraction, I think to myself, to which Alaron snorts in response. You have something to say? I ask Sean, not challenging him, but just wanting to hear his reason behind this sudden outburst. May I speak openly? Sean swallows. Yes, the forum is open, I tell him. This is so boring. Sean stresses each word before falling to his back and covering his eyes. The kid and baby pups laugh at his antics, while the older and seasoned wolves smile. And unfair, he says before sitting back up. I knew I had to address the why of this, but his latter statement puzzled me. Why is this unfair, I question. The girls never do this kind of stuff, Sean says with a pout and looks to his friends who all nod their heads in agreement. I heard they go out and get lunch and do other girl things together, not this meditating stuff. Sean puffs out his cheeks. I open my mouth to explain, but one of the seasoned wolves, Darren, with silver hair and a scar that runs down the length of his neck, holds up his hand. Alpha, "If I may," he says before looking down, being submissive as well. "Yes, please go ahead," I tell him, appreciating him stepping up, wanting to explain the why of this. "Sean," Darian looks in his direction, then clears his throat. "Women and men, boys and girls, are not the same. Women, you see, have more control over their emotions." A few of the older and seasoned wolves make disapproving noises. Sean looks at them questionably. I laugh at his response. He has a lot to learn about women. "They're all headaches, all of them," Alaron says, and I couldn't help but agree. "Let me clarify," Darren begins again. "I meant to say that women and girls have better control over their wolves and their wolves' emotions." I watch as the older and seasoned wolves nod their heads reluctantly. None of us, especially we males, want to admit we don't have better control over our wolves. However, it's the truth. It's harder for we males, Darren continues, especially since both ourselves and our wolves are told at a young age that we are leaders, that we must be strong, even protective. Those characteristics individually are difficult to overcome. Now imagine sharing your soul, your essence, your body with a wolf, two strong-willed individuals constantly fighting each other for dominance. I look to Sean, who has a bored expression on his face. This is going over his head, which I should have expected. He's only a kid pup. I'm having difficulty speaking, it seems. He's only a kid pup. "The meditation," Darren says, getting to the point, I guess noticing Sean's attention wavering, helps not only help me figure out the teeth, the tongue, and the mouth, and the formulating of words. Let's go back. "Meditation," Darren says, getting to the point, I guess noticing Sean's attention wavering, helps. Not only do you get to know your wolf more, you guys can become one, which is the end goal. Sean sighs. "Okay, I get that, but we can't do fun stuff too?" Sean questions. His friends whine in agreement. They turn their attention to me, waiting for a response. "I suppose a little fun wouldn't hurt us," I reply. Sean and his friends rejoice in excitement, but I stop, waiting for their undivided attention. They finally stop rejoicing and look at me, dropping their heads in submission. "That means during our meditation hour, I need you participating, even if it's only 20 minutes out of the hour." "Yes, Alpha," they say together in unison, while bowing their heads in submission. "Now shift, all of you." I look to the kid pups and the baby pups. Do not pass the outline and keep an eye out for the baby pups. The baby pups whine in response to being watched. I watch them as they take their clothes off and carefully put them on the ground, knowing to do that before they shift. I hear the pained cries, the bones breaking, reshaping before their wolf emerges. Seeing them shift always makes me mentally cringe. I can't help it. "You would think you'd be used to it by now," Alaron tells me. Although shifting comes naturally for older wolves, for the kids and the baby pups aged 4 to 12, it required practice. The pain of the wolf emerging made them not want to shift, and me being their alpha, I had no choice but to force them to it. It is my role as their alpha, a role I did not take lightly. Before the kid pups and baby pups take off, they rub against me for protection and comfort. My smell would alert other wolves who didn't belong to my pack that they were under my protection. If anything were to happen to them, they would have to deal with me. Really me, and no wolf wants that, Alaron says smugly. Once they're out of hearing range, which is a few miles, even for young wolves, I rise up and turn my attention to the remainder of my pack. With September comes fall, I tell them. to which they all let out sighs of relief. Like I said, summer was brutal. We were in triple digits this year. It almost made me question what Mother Eve, our goddess, was doing. Alaron dramatically sighs. How dare you question her? I ignore him, which means mating season is approaching. I finish my statement to my pack. A few of the wolves closer to my age grin while howling. While the seasoned wolves roll their eyes, mates were essential to werewolves, especially male werewolves. Having a mate meant you had better control of your wolf. I didn't know the how of it because I had yet to be mated. Mates also promise everlasting love, which not only makes you both stronger, but gives you a chance to produce children, Alaron chimes in yet again. It's your year, my beta raven tells me. The pack claps their hands in agreement. And to celebrate, we'll throw a big feast, Darren announces to the pack. Kim is already planning it as we speak. I give them a smile, when really I want to roll my eyes. When the alpha of a pack mates, everyone else within the pack, male or female, mates within months, if not weeks, which is great. I want my pack happy and mated. They deserve it. My problem is with the woman of the mating equation. No, I didn't hate women, nor did I have any problems attracting, nor having sex with them. It's just women are so needy and just there. I couldn't imagine giving up more time that, quite frankly, I didn't have, nor did I care to share my space with anyone. I already had to do it with the pack. You're selfish, that's your problem, Alaron tells me. Yeah. Kim has already started preparing the ball announcements. She's aiming for New Year's Eve this year, a winter ball. The pack and I all nod our heads in approval. Any other news? I ask my pack. I don't know if it's news, Raven begins, but witches, a clan more specifically, are being targeted by someone from the woodlands. News I haven't heard. I'm intrigued. Who is being targeted and who is doing the targeting? I question Raven. The Rosewoods, Raven says with a shrug of his shoulders. I've never heard about these Rosewoods. Their surname is foreign to me. I look to my seasoned wolves, whose eyes enlarge, showing they have heard of them. What do you know about these Rosewoods? I ask Darren. Not only is he a seasoned wolf, but I think of him as a mentor of sorts. The first set of witches, he replies slowly. I suppose that meant they were worthy of importance, right? No, that's not why they're important. They're important, and neither he nor anyone will speak about this out loud because it's forbidden, but they are responsible for creating the vampires, Alaron informs me. For some strange reason, I assumed the witches responsible for the creation of the vampires had the surname of B. Bayswood, are whom you're thinking and referring to, which is a warlock coven, not a witch coven. Yes, the Bayswoods. Is this something we should look into? I ask Darren, to which he shakes his head no. They don't like others meddling in their affairs, Darren informs me, nor do they live in this realm, which is why the news of them being targeted is puzzling. Yes, puzzling indeed. The smell of lavender invades our nostrils, causing all of us to turn our heads in the direction it's coming from, where we see Kim, Darren's mate, heading towards us. Aren't you supposed to be with the girls doing whatever? Darren questions her. I was, but Leisha fell ill, so we came back. She tells us all before looking to me, bowing her head in submission. Alpha, she looks up to me. Yes, I reply. Did you rent out the guest house? No, I tell her. I looked at the others in my pack, wondering if they did without my permission. They shake their heads no as well. Well, someone did, and a witch is moving in as we speak. Her name is Sage. I hope you're enjoying the book so far. We're going to read one more chapter, maybe two, and let's see what your thoughts are. I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, put your comments below and share with me what you think of the book and if it's something that you're intrigued by. And are you sitting on the edge of your seat yet to figure out what's going to happen with Sage and her family and what's going on with Kayden? So we're going to dip into chapter 3, another chapter about Sage. Chapter 3, Sage. I finish up packing the rest of my belongings, looking over my duplex, making sure it's spotless. Of course, I'm still angry with being told to do something that I really don't want to do. So many questions ran through my mind. Why put me in a realm where we supposedly had so many enemies? It didn't make any sense. If I was 100% sure of my Gmon's love for me, that didn't read right. Let's go back. If I wasn't, that makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it? If I wasn't 100% sure of my Gmon's love for me, I would have assumed she sent me to my death. But I knew that wasn't true. She only wants to protect me. It's always been that way. I suppose it always will be, especially with me being the youngest Rosewood. Heck, I didn't even know how to get to the woodlands, considering I've never been, but of course my Gmon thought of everything. By way of spell, she sent me the location of the closest portal to me, which from the looks of the map, the human world had hundreds of portals to the woodlands. I say a final goodbye to my duplex as I make my way to the closest portal. I look in disgust around me. The location closest to me is under a bridge. Food wrappers line the ground, along with a sleeping bag and blankets. I look for our goddess's initials, M.E., and find it on the ground directly under my feet. Blood. I remember that being on the paper. Only blood from born residents from the woodlands are allowed entrance into the woodlands. I found me having to spill my blood. A little weird, but I didn't make the rules. I'm grateful that whoever is sleeping under this bridge isn't here, because me slicing my palm open with my favorite pocket knife would be a little alarming, but not as annoying as the ground splitting apart, revealing stairs and total complete darkness. I knew I didn't have time to waste. My descent down the stairs was easy, but that changed when the stairs shifted and I began climbing up them. The temperature also changed. In the human world it's hot, that sticky kind of hot, and here it felt cooler, not cold. I suppose that means it's fall in the woodlands. I continue walking up the stairs but stop when I notice a bright light. I guess it's morning, maybe early afternoon in the woodlands as well, when it's night in the human world. I take a deep breath, preparing myself mentally for whatever is awaiting me in the woodlands. The smell stood out to me first. The human world always smells dirty from pollution, trash, feces, and the overall disregard for the care of their planet. But here in the woodlands it smells earthy and crisp. You could smell various plants and overall freshness. My skin also didn't feel oily as it did in the human world. I didn't feel the need to rush back home and shower as I usually did. I look down to the grass underneath my feet and smile at how green and lush it looks, almost unnatural. The sky is blue, animated blue, not the dull blue I'm used to, and the sun isn't as blinding as it is in the human world. I could look up in the sky and not fear going blind. A serene feeling washes over me. This place is freaking awesome. I take out the paper my Gmon sent me, trying to figure out which direction I should go next. Safe house, here I come. I sit on the wood-paneled floor in the safe house, which is really a guest house, butt naked, covered head to toe in homemade peppermint balm to stop the itch from the pythonism flower. The walk from the portal to the guest house was excruciating. It was over 10 miles, but when I finally made it and laid eyes on the safe house, which I quickly realized wasn't a safe house at all, since it's set in close proximity to a mansion, none of that mattered, because as soon as I stepped inside the guest house, I felt home. Never in my 25 years of life have I felt that way. Instead of being giddy from that feeling, I felt puzzled. If the woodlands made you feel like this, why deny me the chance of living here? I wanted so desperately to ask my G-Ma that question, but I learned a long time ago I didn't have an ask and receive an answer type of family. I had the family of follow orders, don't step out of line and survive type of family. Continuous ringing from my cell phone makes me release long and peeved sigh. G-Ma. I answer on the third ring with annoyance in my voice, because even though this place felt like home, I am still irritated with her. You're there, she states. I can feel your energy. Of course, I didn't know where my grandmother was at. She wasn't forthcoming with that info. But when she said, you're there, that told me she too is in the woodlands. Is that why she sent me here, to be closer to her? Yes, is my reply. Do you have any leads on Mom and Aunt Heaven yet? Who? My grandmother questions before she snorts, which surprises me because that's unlike her character. Yes, Heaven and Nevaeh, no such luck yet. It could be my tired brain from moving in 2 hours, walking miles. Sorry guys, let's go back. It could be my tired brain from moving in 2 hours, walking miles, unpacking while itching and starving, but she sounded weird, off even. Well, I guess you'll keep me abreast, I tell her, not really knowing what else to say. A long moment of silence follows my statement. We'll meet up to discuss our findings, G-Ma says, which immediately lets me know that this is not my grandmother. If I recall, she told me if she needed me, she would seek me out. It didn't make sense. Why put me in a safe house if you were going to have us meet up in another place? I recall our last phone conversation and how it sounded as if she was preoccupied with someone else. Did they capture her as well, just as they captured my mom and aunt? Better question, how did this person know about me? Yes, everyone in the woodlands knew about us Rosewoods, but I always thought I was the exception to that because I did not grow up in the woodlands, unlike my mom, aunt, and G-Ma. From my understanding, my mom made sure to not have me in the woodlands as well. She postponed her labor to ensure I was born in the human world. How did they know about me? I looked to the phone puzzled, not knowing what to do next. Should I perform a spell in hopes of trying to discover this imposter's identity? Should I call the imposter out on their crap? I swallow and make a hasty decision. Sorry, G-Ma, I reply, playing along. Although what should I be apologizing for? I think of the first lie that comes to my head. Someone was knocking on my door. That makes sense, right? Call me whenever you want to meet up, I sigh, and I know you think you got this, but if you need me, don't hesitate to call, I add, hoping I still sound oblivious. Goodbye, the imposter says in a bored voice. I think I handled that situation nicely. Butt-ass naked and still covered in peppermint balm, I quickly crawled to the closet where the single and only box I had yet to unpack sits. I reach inside of it, pulling out a grapefruit, my favorite pocket knife, 3 separate silk pouches, which contain a single hair sample from each my mom, Aunt Heaven, and G-Ma. In addition to a red and orange chalk and a rose with, it says thrones, I'm sure I meant to say thorns, and a rose with thorns. In order to successfully do my summoning spell, one had to use the artifacts, personal effects of that person. The rose is our family flower, the grapefruit is our family fruit, and the hair from each of them would make sure the spell yielded better results. I use the red chalk to spell out rosewood. I draw a circle using the orange chalk and connect the circle using our surname initials, RW. I divide the same circle into 5 equal parts. I cut the grapefruit into slices and place a single slice in one of each empty sections of the equally divided circle. I place the rose in an empty section, my mom, aunt, and Jima hair samples in the remaining sections. Now the spell could begin. I grasped my necklace, already knowing the incantation I want to use. Ancestor Rosewoods, I beg of thee to listen to me. In this dire time of need, send to me the books of 3, rosewood to rosewood, where our secrets shall stay with me, or I'll perish protecting thee. I look to the suspended black hole that appears after the incantation. I know my Jima said not to do anything, but I had to know if they were okay. Sometimes my family found themselves in sticky situations, which makes communicating damn near impossible. Worst case scenario, they were imprisoned, which is a lot better than them being dead. The spell I performed would confirm how much trouble the 3 of them were in. If the books appeared, it told me that all was lost, and the worst had happened. The Rosewood ancestors only sent the books to a living Rosewood when something drastic happened, like death. If the books never appeared, they were all right, just in a little danger. I was hoping like hell it was the latter. I decide then, while waiting for the books, I will go against my Jima's wishes again. I would definitely not sit idly by, knowing they are in danger. Instead, I'm going to do my part. A visit to town sounds like a good start. I recall my aunt telling me they were in the woodlands not too long ago, when I spoke to her 2 days ago. Maybe if I saw some of the places they visited and spoke to some of the shop owners, I could find out what they were doing before they went missing. I was determined to find out. Something the imposter impersonating my Jima said registered with me. How he or she could feel my energy. Unlike the human world, the residents of the woodlands could smell or identify your aura or power. I think back to me slicing open my palm just hours ago. I had a feeling my blood alerted the supernaturals here in the woodlands of my presence. Usually when dealing with situations like this, I preferred staying incognito. Now I wasn't so sure I had that option. Unless I went back to the woodlands portal, left and re-entered with a different aura. A spelled aura, I could fool the residents of the woodlands. I mentally make a list of the stuff I need to do before showering. A spell to change my aura, a boundary spell to keep anyone and everyone from entering my guest house without my permission. Also refilling my stone, the one I wore around my neck, with more spells, because it'll be empty once I finish everything. I sigh. There's never a down moment for a Rosewood witch. After finally showering and checking the black hole for the 100th time, where I found not a single book, I head downstairs with the intention of eating the gumbo I prepared. When I round the corner, I stop dead in my tracks, startled and a little alarmed by the big and muscular blonde guy sitting at the counter eating a big bowl of my gumbo. His skin is the color of ivory, but kissed by the sun, making him appear golden with a square face. His hair is dirty blonde, medium length, pulled into a very messy man bun. His blonde beard is thick, not caveman thick, but rugged thick and neatly trimmed, along with his thick, perfectly arched, dirty blonde eyebrows, with the most beautiful aqua blue eyes, wrapped in a tall package of 6'3", maybe 6'4", with a very muscular body, as if he's never had a cardio day in his life, because he only cared about lifting weights. He looks intimidating, but damn, that didn't make him any less sexy. My body, once calm and cool, thanks to my peppermint balm bath, now feels hot and bothered, similar to a hot flash that creeps up on you with no warning. I felt the need to fan myself to cool me off, but I resist, not knowing how he'll perceive that. He could take it as a sign of weakness, and I am not weak. There's a tingle in a place that hasn't tingled in a while, which makes me want to stop everything, rush back to my room and play with myself until I no longer tingle. Realization hits me. Wait a minute, is my body reacting this way because of him? I mean, yes, I did want to screw him, and usually when someone trespasses into my home, my first thought isn't jumping into bed with him. I snort, "Oh, Mother Eve, he is the reason I'm experiencing these symptoms." I internally laugh, "Very funny, Mother Eve," as if I have time to get laid. "Be at ease. I didn't come to harm you," he says, breaking the silence while finishing his gumbo. His words may have promised safety, which didn't matter to me because, again, I only wanted to screw his brains out. Why am I such a whore? Focus, I tell myself. Instead of seeing him as a sexy tool, analyze his aura. It's dirty yellow, much like his hair, but bright, blindingly bright. Auras which all witches could see told us how powerful the supernatural residents of woodlands are. Assumptions about the color of the aura, meaning if the aura is light, meant you were good, and if dark meant you were bad, is a total lie. Truth be told, you couldn't determine if a person was indeed good or bad just by aura alone. It wasn't possible. But what the aura did indicate was the strength, power of that particular person. The brighter the aura, the more powerful they are. Dull auras indicated they were weak. If the aura is somewhere in between, it means the supernatural isn't weak nor strong. You'd be surprised by how many humans had strong auras. It always made me wonder if they received their power from a supernatural parent they weren't aware of, or simply they were powerful because they were just them. The sensation of being pulled in by his aura, like he is the magnet and I'm the iron, is a new feeling to me. I've never been around a person whose aura could do that. I suppose it explains why I want to fuck him. Another thought occurs to me. How did he get inside? Before getting into the shower, I spent an hour outside, lining the property of my house, saying an incantation to prevent any unwelcomed visitors. The spell was fresh, so there is no excuse to why it didn't work. Did magic not work on him? Needing to test my suspicion, I think of a telekinesis incantation. I look to the bowl he's still holding in one hand. Weightless as the moon, light as a feather, may the objects surrounding me do my bidding. The bowl rattles. Blondie raises a single eyebrow towards the bowl, then me. I chant the incantation again and watch as the bowl continues to shake, but doesn't lift. Blondie puts his other hand on the bowl and it stops rattling completely. Magic didn't work on him. Why would a witch or warlock bless him like that? Because magic not working on you definitely is a blessing. I watch him get up and place the bowl in the sink. His quietness is a little unnerving. My grandfather always warned me to be careful of those who didn't speak. Their silence meant they were calculating and deadly. I approach him while he raises that eyebrow again in a questioning manner, and I begin circling him in hopes it will rattle him. You may not be aware of this, but you circling me, a werewolf. Oh, he's a werewolf. Is seen as a challenge. His blue eyes glow. I knew that means his wolf has joined us. Are you challenging me, pint-sized? His voice in deep. I think I may have wet my panties. Shit. Scared I might win, giant? I question in return. His eyes move down to mine, and we stare at each other for a while. I don't know much about werewolves. My family didn't really discuss them much like the other supernatural in the woodlands. I always assumed they were not worth mentioning. Weak. His eyes grow again before a smile graces his face. He's even sexier when he smiles. I feel that tingle again. Ugh. Powerful, aren't you, pint-sized? He states, his eyes glowing again. I stopped to give him a "you better believe it" smile. He begins to circle me, which puzzles me, making me stop circling him. What is he doing? What are we doing? He surprises me by running his fingers slowly and seductively up and down my arm, before running his hands along my exposed collarbone, causing me to shiver before he runs them down my back, causing a fire there. One I knew I would have to put out with a cold shower. Be strong. Your mission isn't to sleep with this man whom you don't know, for fuck's sake. I grab his hand, stopping him from whatever he's going to do next, while stepping away from him, putting some space between us. That's where I'm going to stop it. And that is where I'm hoping that you guys will be intrigued by what's perhaps going to happen between Sage and Kayden. And will she find her G-Ma, her aunt and her mom? And what's the secret that is causing them to be sought after? So hopefully you guys really enjoyed this. It is meant to relax you and help you get rid of some stress and get your imagination flowing. So if you have not subscribed, do that. And I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.